Welcome to toy-polloi.
Hello and welcome to another video from toy-polloi, and today we're going to take a look at the Imperial attack base from The Empire Strikes Back. Now this is one of the made up toys that Kenner had to produce because obviously the Empire never had a base on Hoth, so this is something that the guys in the back room of Kenner would have come up with on their own, and it is packed full of features. It may look like a little bit of a boring playset, but there's an awful lot of things to do and play with on this. So let's take a closer look at all the features that there are on the Imperial attack base. The first feature, and probably the most boring, is the gun, as you can see here on the right. It is a gun that's sort of mounted onto the bottom of the base, and as you turn it, it clicks. There is a little stand that the snowtrooper can sit on, and it just rotates around, and that is all it does. Now, I would say this is probably loosely based on the tripod laser cannon, because it does look a little bit like that, but there is nothing really behind here. It is just a sort of little white mounting thing, and the stand that the trooper stands on, and that's all this does. It doesn't fire any missiles, it just makes a little bit of a clicking noise. So it's a bit boring, but it does its job. Next up we have the collapsing ice bridge. Now here at the back of the set you can see there's a little bridge that goes over, and on the side there is a lever just about here, and if I flick this with my hand, you can see that the ice bridge collapses and the figures fall to the ground. Now I actually quite like this feature. It's not the most amazing thing, but it's just quite a nice little sort of feature to add. You get two pieces of the ice bridge which don't really link together, they just sort of hold together like that. There's nothing that clips them, and these rest on the base at the back here and here, and then there's a lever that with a little peg that as you sort of push it backwards it catches on the inside and flips the ice bridge down. It's a fairly simple little feature, but it does work well. So we'll set that up one more time. I'll just put the figure on top of there, and if I flick the little switch there, the bridge collapses. Pretty cool. And now we have the landmine. Now this is another little push button on the back of the base, and if some sneaky rebels try and get onto your Imperial base, all you've got to do is wait until they stand on this tiny little square here and then tap the button on the back, and you can see that they get hit by the landmine. Not the most amazing of features, but I do actually quite like this. There's similar features in some other playsets I have, like the Fortress of Fangs Dungeons and Dragons playset. I quite like it. It's just a little bit of a way of firing figures up in the air. So let's do that one more time. And the final feature is here at the back, which is the command centre part of the base. Again, completely made up because the Imperials didn't have a command centre on Hoth, but it's quite nice. It does look sort of quite Star Warsy. It looks a bit like some of the Imperial destroyer insides, and it's got a few little component parts. And again, this is another bit that can be destroyed. They obviously like the idea of destroying things on this base. So again, there's a button here, and if I tap that, the base will be destroyed. Well, sort of destroyed. The wall's fallen out and the base does fall over, and there are some bits on the top that are supposed to fall out as well. It would have been nice if this feature had a little bit more oomph to it, because it really doesn't sort of fire. Even if you tap that button really hard, it doesn't really want to fire that much. So let's put this one back together again, like so. We just drop the base in over the top like that, and then we have the two little panels that we can drop in, and I'm going to really tap this hard this time, see if we can get the base to explode a lot worse. So let's try that. Oh yeah, a little bit better that time, but it still didn't really fall apart. I think they could have done with a little bit more work on that. The worst thing that happened is a stormtrooper dropped his gun. One thing I do really like about this base is actually the sculpt of the base section itself. If you look inside, you can see all the little footprints have been sculpted into the floor of this piece. So it looks like people have come walking in the little cave entrance here and over to the command centre on the left side. And there's an awful lot of detail in the sculpt. I just think it's a remarkable piece of work, and the effort that went into making that looks amazing. There's even little footprints all the way up the stairs at the back. Everything about the sculpt is fantastic. I think they've really surpassed themselves on this one. Considering this is a made-up toy, an awful lot of work went into making it look really nice. It's also quite a big playset. You forget how big some of these little playsets are. It's probably about 50 or 60 centimetres wide by 30 or 40 centimetres deep, and can store quite a lot of figures. There's little pegs all over the place for standing figures up so that they don't fall over, which is why none of these have actually fallen over while I've been filming this video. So that's quite a nice extra that they've added there. It is also a relatively easy set to collect, because really people don't seem to want these sort of made up sets as much as they do the original ships and things like that. There are a few little fiddly parts to find, especially the little sort of roof panels that go on the command centre can be a bit difficult to find, and some of these little boxes do ping off, so you'll occasionally see those missing. But overall it isn't the hardest of sets to find, but it is a nice thing to have in a collection. And if you have the Hoth turret and Probot set, it's also great to display this next to them because it makes it for one nice big display piece. So I hope my review of this vintage Star Wars Imperial attack base has been of interest to you, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching toy-polloi. Subscribe for more great videos. You can also follow toy-polloi on Twitter and Facebook.